With football around the corner, time to start building up that bankroll. And we want to help by slashing the cost of all daily picks packages priced at $25 or more, including 5% best bets through the end of July. This amazing promotion runs from Tuesday, July 12th to midnight on Sunday, July 31st, and drops the pricing down to $25 daily packages for $12.50, 29 daily combo packages for $14.50, and $35 5% best bets for $17.50. But even better, this is the perfect time to take advantage of our one-day all-access pass. This package locks in the handicapper of your choice for one whole day for only $39, including when they have a 5% top play that usually sells for $35. But during our 50% slash promotion, you get a one-day all-access for only $19.50. We know this business is loaded with competitors and copycats, and we are very proud and extremely excited to be one of, if not, the premier sports betting information provider in North America. Our special discount pricing goes live on Tuesday, runs through the end of the month, does not require a coupon, and is available just by going to your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo Handicappers homepage right now.
We are live, and it is Thursday, July the 14th. WagerTalk Today, live, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, every day, Monday through Friday, right here on WagerTalk TV, and of course, archived 24/7, 365 for your viewing pleasure. And don't forget about the podcast versions on your favorite podcast apps. You can listen to us anytime, day or night. I am Steve Merrill, filling in for the Prez, and that is Andy Lang, filling in for Teddy Covers. And you know, I thought the counseling had gone well. Prez returned on Tuesday and Wednesday, but powers at WagerTalk put him back into the protocols today. Teddy's going to need a couple more weeks, they say, to get over all the Prez anxiety. So, Andy, you're filling in the best you can. And that is the prop master. He wore the red. I wore the blue. I brought my props for you, Andy Lang. But Andy brings all the props on a daily basis. Check him out at WagerTalk.com. And, Andy, I'm actually glad we got you today because we've got Kyle Anthony on a little bit later in the show to talk about UFC. And, of course, you dig deep into the UFC as well. So some great info for those of you that like to bet UFC, and you really should because there's some money to be made there. We've also got some WNBA from Ronald Cabang. Also going to find out if he's been practicing for the three-point contest at the meet and greet in August. The virtual sports book in my head has been adjusting the odds. When we found out Jay Money might not be there, it shifted everything up. And found out yesterday on the show that Nick Borman will not be at the golf outing that Saturday. He's, of course, a scratch pro. That dropped Prez from 100 to 1 down to 50 to 1, so some movement there. And we're going to start it off, of course, with the legend Dave Cokin to talk some MLB baseball here at the top of the show. But, Andy, before we get to all that, speaking of golf, the Open Championship has begun this morning on Thursday. Any takeaways so far in that one?
Yeah, looks like the morning guys got a little bit of a break. The conditions played a little bit easier. We're seeing some scores creep up in the afternoon, but that's going to flip tomorrow. So if you have your bets and you have a guy that's playing in the afternoon and you're not real pleased with where he's at, don't worry. It should come back and regress back to the mean tomorrow. But just absolutely unfortunate. It's almost one of those things we could talk about for what did we learn. Sometimes things are just out of your control. Tiger, this is one of his favorite courses. He's been practicing all week, has looked great. The weather set up well everything set up well for Tiger to do good. He gets on the first tee, hits a perfect, beautiful drive right down the center of the fairway, and it lands in somebody's divot. He has a near impossible shot, and he just chunks it coming out of the divot, and it goes right in the water, and he's +2 before you know it on the first hole, and he's not doing well. He's +4, which means making the cut is going to be really, really difficult for him. Probably no shot to win the tournament or to place, even remotely close to your top 40s and top 20s. And that was just unfortunate. 1 inch to the left or the right, and he's got a beautiful, easy approach shot going into the first green, and the momentum is off. But just really unfortunate. And sometimes that happens. That's why we preach bankroll management. Don't go all in on some of these bets because sometimes the golfing gods can be really, really cruel to us. So, Steve, it was interesting. We always talk about, we do the segment, what did we learn? And you and I were on the exact same page. So let me ask you this. What did we learn? Because there was a baseball game that I feel like a lot of people just overthought it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought up some golf because, I mean, once again, great to have you on today because we've got the Open Championship. You, of course, do golf along with UFC. You do player props. And obviously, this is more of a team discussion here with the Baltimore Orioles. But yeah, I mean, trying to think of something to talk about at the lead. I mean, two things actually jumped out to me, Andy. I mean, the Orioles now winning their 10th straight game. They're now above 500 officially at 45 and 44. They are the most profitable team in baseball this year on both the run line and the money line. They're about 5 units ahead of the Yankees now, who have regressed in the past week, going just 5-5. And it's for real. I mean, this is a top 5 bullpen. It's a youthful team with a lot of talent. We'll see if they can keep it going. They've now won 10 straight. They go for 11. And do not get in front of those speeding bullets. Don't try to catch those falling knives, by the well, as well, Andy, unless Shohei Ohtani is on the mound. That's the other take I had last night. Angels 0-9 their last 9 games without him, 2-0 the last 2 times he's pitched. Actually, I'm sorry, 3-0 now the last 3 times he's pitched, 0-9 on all other games in between. Definitely the best player in baseball when you combine hitting and pitching. You know, I've never thought he's necessarily the best pitcher or the best hitter, but he is the best pitcher right now. Over his last 6 starts, he's allowed just 2 earned runs in all of those, like 39 innings. You're a player prop guy, Andy. He's another guy you don't want to fade right now. The Orioles, you don't want to fade as a team, and Ohtani, you definitely don't want to fade probably in the prop market.
I feel like this Ohtani thing is so underreported, and I know it's because he's on a team that isn't going to do anything, right. And they have crazy start times, and his team's terrible. But I feel like this is like if somebody was like in the NFL was a pretty good starting running back and a linebacker. Or what's the comparison? Like if we did that, nobody would. This would be the number one story that we would talk about. But I don't know if that's a bad comparison. But I never thought I would see a guy who can pitch and hit like him.
Well, I'll bring in Dave Cokin. And Dave, the comparison I'll use was when I saw Allen Iverson play high school football back in the 90s. And in the first half, he threw a touchdown, ran an interception back for a touchdown, and ran a punt back for a touchdown that was called back on a clip right before halftime. So that would be the comparison to someone like Dion or Allen Iverson, who was playing both ways at the time. Dave Cokin, your take on the Angels, Ohtani, the Orioles, anywhere you want to go with that?
Well, the thing on the Orioles that is fun is that the trade deadline is August 2nd. And because of the added wild this year in each league, the Orioles are in this thing. And so are some other teams who are hanging around 500 right now. So we're going to see a lot of action at the trade deadline, and it's a seller's market. This is a chance for teams like the Tigers, Royals, a few of the teams that have no chance to make some hay in the market, because you've got some teams like the Mariners and Orioles that you would think are certainly going to be active buyers because they've got a rare chance to snap their playoff droughts and get in. So it's going to be really exciting. As for Ohtani, every now and then you'll hear somebody say, oh, he's overrated. Anybody who says that, and I will use this term, and I will not apologize for using this term, if you or anybody you thinks that when it comes to baseball, they're an idiot, and there's just no other way to say it. They're an absolute idiot and should be, anything they say about baseball should be disregarded at that point. Ohtani he's not even generational, because this has never happened before, unless you want to go back to Babe Ruth, which, it's over 100 years, so let's not be ridiculous. He's just incredible. And last night he was off the charts. Just incredible last night. But when he's not out there, the Angels are they're pretty bad. And we'll talk about them in a moment.
Yeah, we'll save the Astros Angels because you've got a first 5 take on that, which I'm anxious about hearing because you do a lot with first 5 plays. But yeah, Ohtani had 12 strikeouts, 2 walks as a pitcher, and he also had 2 hits and 4 at-bats last night as the leadoff guy. So incredible what he's doing. And a barometer I always use, guys, is that they changed the rules within the league because of you. You're probably pretty dominant. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain, they brought in several rules. That's why he's the most dominant basketball player in history. There'll never be someone like that. I mean, they literally have to goaltend in 3-second lane violations. I mean, they changed rules because of a guy. The designated hitter rule, obviously last year you had to move him to the outfield. You would lose your DH. They made the universal DH rule coming into this season. They call it the Ohtani rule. Pretty dominant nowadays if you have a rule named after you in Major League Baseball. Dave, speaking of teams that have overperformed like the Orioles in the AL East, one of the reasons they're in the mix is because the wild card spot right now, they're 2 games back. The Red Sox and Blue Jays are tied for that final wild card. The Rays are a couple up. The Blue Jays have underachieved so far. They made the managerial change yesterday, of course. That often can be a spark for teams. What's your take on Toronto going forward now, second half, and more particularly, what's your play with them tonight against a pretty bad Royals team?
Well, not much you could do tonight because of the Royals situation. They're going into Toronto extremely short-handed. They have 10 guys on the restricted list because of their vaccination status, and they're mostly regulars. So they've got like a quad A team out there tonight. The line's insanely high. Let me talk about the Blue Jays for a moment because I'm not saying I was ahead of everybody on this, but I think I was ahead of 99% of the people on this. I started saying, and you know this, Steve, because I said it on the baseball show, Montoya is going to get fired. I don't think he's going to last the season. And the catalyst by saying that was not only that they were underperforming, but he did a no-no a couple of weeks ago, and it was like, this is going to be the beginning of the end. And that's after a bad performance by Yusei Kikuchi, and he's had a lot of them this year. He basically just trashed him in the post-game press conference. And I was messaging back and forth last night with Mark Williams. Mark is the son of the great Dick Williams, late great Dick Williams, one of the best managers of all time in baseball, who I became friendly with when he moved here to Las Vegas. Great guy. Sorry he's not around anymore because he was so much fun to talk to. And I'm friends with Mark, his son, who knows the game extremely well. And one of the things Dick had said was that part of the reason he got out of managing was that he couldn't manage his way anymore. He never cared if anybody liked him. He just wanted max effort out of all his players. And he would toss guys under the bus at times in terms of maybe motivating them or whatever. And he knew you couldn't. He said you can't do that anymore. The game, things have changed, not only in the game, but just in society in general. Now, you can say whatever you want as far as, well, these guys are soft. I don't care about your opinion on that. It is what it is. You cannot go out there and throw a player, even one who's not performing well, under the bus, because if you do, the team is going to turn against you. And I think they did that in Toronto when the Kikuchi thing happened, and to me it was just a matter of time before Montoya got pig-slipped. It happened yesterday. They immediately go out and play a good game last night. So what do you do with the Royals coming in? And I don't even have numbers on this yet because only a couple of places had started to put up numbers on the game tonight. What I would do is it's a 4-game series. Take a shot looking for a Royals-Blue Jays series prop. Blue Jays to sweep. 4-game series. You'll get a price on that. And I think that's the one that's worth going after. Because even the runs line tonight is like almost minus 200. So you can't really play that. To win the series, I think I saw minus 550 or something like that. Well, to win the series, they got to win 3-1. May as well go for the sweep. So that's what I would do with the Royals Blue Jays. Take a shot on a sweep the 4-game series prop. And good luck to Charlie Montoya at his next stop. And hopefully he'll learn that you cannot do a post-game press conference and trash a player, even if he's not getting the job done.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Dave, because this situation is so similar to the Philadelphia situation. I'll give you credit. You called that one. You said basically on the baseball show you were riding the Phillies when they made that change. And the Phillies, just like the Blue Jays, actually won the game right before the firing. It wasn't like they got blown out, and the Phillies had won. Then they come out on that Friday, June 3rd, when Girardi was fired. They win 10-0 and win 8 straight, 9 overall. The Blue Jays also had won on Tuesday, 4-3. Montoya gets fired. They win 8-2 rather easily last night. So we'll see if that momentum continues. Of course, we do have the All-Star break next week, which could throw a little bit of a wrench in the works here as it'll disrupt the momentum, maybe the flow. Any concern about that as far as the Blue Jays? How do you think that All-Star break will affect it, or is it just hard to predict?
I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it now. I'll look at it then. One thing I'll tell you, though, is that team was all smiles last night from the beginning of the game. I think they're happy that Montoya is not there, and I expect them to go on a roll.
Yeah, and this team, unlike the Phillies, this is a team that's expected to be one of maybe the best teams in baseball coming into the season. So, yeah, I mean, if there's ever a team that needed a spark it was the Toronto Blue Jays. They were definitely underperforming. They're tied for that last wild card spot right now in the AL East with the Red Sox. Hey, another team that's underperforming. I mean, I guess we could say the Angels had, because they were 27-17, first place a couple months ago, and lost exactly 14 straight games after being in first place. Lost 18 out of 20. As I mentioned earlier, they're 3-0 the last 3 starts with Ohtani, including last night. They're 0-9 in all other games in between. How are you approaching this one tonight against the Astros as they wrap up this series against the Astros team that's been pretty good this year, but looks like maybe they're cooling off a bit as they head into the All-Star break?
Yeah, I'm going to play the first 5 under in this game. This is a play for me. And here's a few reasons why. One, the Angels can't hit. Okay, they hit a little bit last night, but basically their offense has been non-existent. It's been Ohtani, Trout, and that's pretty much it. I mean, Rengifo has been their third best guy lately, and that's not a good thing. Bettors, and this is not on my own. Mark Gubza, who's a great analyst, was talking about this in Detmer's last start when he came back up and faced the Orioles, and was really good. Talked about a change in his arm slot that has helped his slider have way more bite. And I think he had 14 strikeouts in his last minor league start after being sent down, and then came back and threw it really well against the Orioles. I'll argue he was better in that game last week against Baltimore than he was in his no-hitter, which was kind of fluky. Early in the season, there were a lot of balls that were just at people in that game. He was really sharp last time out. So I think he's got a chance to do well here against the Astros. Valdez is a ground ball machine. He'll get strikeouts tonight because the Angels strike out more than anybody. And even last night in the win, I think they struck out like 15 times. They are a swing and miss machine. And then there's the other thing that really factors in here. It's the start time. And anybody who's listened to me over the years knows I've been doing this for a long time. When you get that 5 p.m. start time at Anaheim, and it's a sunny day out, you get shadows and glare for the first couple innings that are among the toughest in baseball. Big advantage for the pitchers in those 2 or 3 innings. So that definitely keys into this one under the first 5 innings between the Astros and the Angels. It is a bet for me tonight. It's also my free play, and obviously I like it here on the show.
Love it. Dave's giving out a free best bet for you here on the show at WagerTalk TV. And don't forget, every best bet is half price for all of July. It started a couple days ago. It's going to run all the way through the month. 50% discount. It's a buy one, get one free, no matter how you cut it, for each and every capper at WagerTalk.com. And Dave, I know you do golf. You do CFL as well, which a lot of people probably don't realize. We do have football going on right now. You, of course, do baseball. He's on the baseball show at 1:45 Eastern numerous times a week, including this afternoon, I believe. Dave, what else you got going on at WagerTalk.com? By the way, number 1 in college football all time. That's right around the corner as well. So not a bad time to check out Dave Cokin at WagerTalk. What you got going on for this week?
Got a best bet in baseball tonight. So in addition to the Astros Angels first 500, is a play I like. Actually, even a little more. It's a 4% play. So that's $12.50 with the half price deal. Also have a play on the CFL game tonight. The package is still up. I think I'll pull it because the line's going way up in the game. So that tells you who I like. But I like it at a price that is no longer in existence by a considerable margin, by the way. So, I took the Alouettes -7.5. Last I saw it was 9. And that was a couple hours ago. So you don't play at 9, but you could have played at 7.5. And that's about it. All-Star break, I leave Sunday, so I will not have any action on Sunday, and probably won't have any until the following Saturday. I am off to Solana Beach. I can't wait to get there when the surf meets the turf down in beautiful Del Mar.
We'll come back, and that's one of the reasons number 1 all time in college football, because he comes back recharged after the All-Star break, and
everybody,
it's the way to do it.
And especially in this business, but
right.
anything where you're doing the same grind day after day. Not that there's anything wrong with the grind, but you got to take a break and just do nothing. Okay, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to sit on the beach and listen to the water. I might go in, get my feet wet. I'm going to eat a lot of good meals and get some swordfish, which I can't get in Las Vegas, and come back ready to rock and roll. And everybody should do it if you can. I mean, maybe not going to stay in the type of hotel I was staying at down there, which is, it's a good thing I make decent money. But just find a way to decompress. It's really good for your physical and mental health.
Hashtag balance. That's what I preach on a daily basis, right? You got to have a little bit of balance in your life. And Dave does it well. In fact, if you want to catch Dave before the break, today, Thursday, and tomorrow, Friday, 1:45 Eastern on MLB First Pitch Live here. So he'll be on the First Pitch show today, Thursday, and tomorrow and Friday. And we have the All-Star break next week. So thanks to Dave Cokin for joining us. And Andy, I don't want the viewers to think I put you on mute because I wasn't pulling a Prez on you. We're going to have you dig in deeper on the UFC segment with Kyle Anthony because you're a UFC expert. But wanted to let the viewers know Andy did pull up, as he's the prop master, plus 270 for a sweep, Andy, for the Blue Jays to sweep all four against the Royals. You're seeing plus 270.
Yeah, that's on DraftKings right now. So if you want to lock that in, it does seem like a really good price. I was excited to see. I was excited to see how Dave was going to go about it. And I never once thought about playing the series. I was like, well, how can you play these games? They're minus 200 on run lines, but it's brilliant. Somehow you can get plus 270 on the Blue Jays to take out a team that is playing with next to nothing. So the cover is certainly bare.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things working here. First of all, you've got the managerial angle. As I mentioned, the Phillies won 8 straight, won a lot by blowouts after that. The Blue Jays are a better team. The Royals are a worse team. And then, as Dave said, you've got the whole vaccine border issue where they're basically a minor league club almost. They're the worst team in baseball without half their players. So good news is they don't have all their players. The bad news is they don't have all their players. It's however you want to look at it. But, yeah, and then the other thing, too, is you could always hedge, right? At plus 270, you get 2-3 wins for sure. You can get out of that bet and still lock up a profit. So, yeah, plus 270. Dave Cokin brought that up. Andy found the price. Plus 270 for a 4-game sweep. All of us kind of agree that is worth a look as we head into the weekend. All right, Andy, if you got a big game breakdown, I'll give you 30 seconds to find one and think about it. We'll be right back after the break. Big game breakdown, Andy Lang.
With football around the corner, time to start building up that bankroll. And we want to help by slashing the cost of all daily picks packages priced at $25 or more, including 5% best bets through the end of July. This amazing promotion runs from Tuesday, July 12th to midnight on Sunday, July 31st, and drops the pricing down to $25 daily packages for $12.50, $29 daily combo packages for $14.50, and $35 5% best bets for $17.50. But even better, this is the perfect time to take advantage of our one-day all-access pass. This package locks in the handicapper of your choice for one whole day for only $39, including when they have a 5% top play that usually sells for $35. But during our 50% slash promotion, you get a one-day all-access for only $19.50. We know this business is loaded with competitors and copycats, and we are very proud and extremely excited to be one of, if not, the premier sports betting information provider in North America. Our special discount pricing goes live on Tuesday, runs through the end of the month, does not require a coupon, and is available just by going to your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo Handicappers homepage right now.
Welcome to today's big game breakdown, or should I say big race breakdown, since I had a half-hour notice to get a big game breakdown ready. I just decided to go to my wheelhouse and go with auto racing because we are hitting over 62% on auto racing bets, and we're going to talk a little NASCAR and a head-to-head matchup that you should lock in right now. First off, they are racing at New Hampshire, and Steve, this is not an exciting track, especially with the new cars, but they can't pass. However, there is a very exciting storyline. There is a driver by the name of Ross Chastain. He's a really good driver. He's very fast, but he has a habit of causing a lot of wrecks and running into people during green flag laps. And Steve, the NASCAR drivers have just about had it. He caused 2 more wrecks this Sunday. And let me read you some of the quotes. So Austin Dillon says he's just out there causing wrecks for everybody. Eric Almirola called him an effing idiot and said, if I ever see him in the grocery store, we're going to have problems. So he has a driver threatening to fight him in a grocery store. He's run into Denny Hamlin 3 times and taken Denny Hamlin out. New Hampshire is a 1-mile oval. And Steve, what do NASCAR directors say when drivers have arguments with each other? Settle it on the track. This is the perfect weekend for the NASCAR drivers to settle it on the track, and I think Ross Chastain is getting taken out. This is a regular season race. They're all going to be bunched up on restarts. You want nothing to do with Ross Chastain in any head-to-head matchups, daily fantasy, seasonal fantasy leagues that you're in. And in fact, I'm going to take Chase Elliott to win head-to-head against Ross Chastain. Chase Elliott just needs to finish ahead of Ross Chastain. I'm bringing this up because Chase Elliott won the race at Dover earlier this year. It's a little bit of a comparison to this track. But if ever there was a track to take out Ross Chastain and to put him in the wall and get some of this revenge like a lot of the NASCAR drivers want to do, it is this race. They've got a mile track. Don't be surprised if Ross Chastain does not see the end of this race. So for my best bet, Steve, I'm going to take Chase Elliott over Ross Chastain. You can lock that in on any domestic book right now. And that is your play for today's big race breakdown.
I love it. Love it, Andy Lang. You're the prop master. We've talked Open Championship. We've talked baseball. We've talked NASCAR. We still got WNBA and UFC. We got 5 different bettable sports in this 45-minute show. And talked about you and I read each other's mind with the Orioles 10-game win streak. To talk about with 20 minutes before I came on today, I was doing a live ESPN radio show with my friend Tom Abraham down in the Tennessee Valley, Alabama area. Needless to say, we talk NASCAR every week. And we had a huge discussion about Ross Chastain. And my friend Tom said that everyone boos him, nobody likes him. And I said, I don't get it because this guy is fantastic. He smashes a watermelon from the roof of his car when he wins. He does the post-race interview with watermelon seeds in his beard. He's an 8th-generation watermelon farmer. That's why he does it. He's my favorite driver right now, and it's the second best thing I've seen since Brad Keselowski texted live during a red flag from his race car 10 years ago. But you hit the nail on the head. The drivers are upset because he has taken numerous out. They were saying he'd taken Hamlin out, and I told my friend Tom, I go, nobody likes Hamlin, so I don't know why the fans would dislike him. But you're right. It's starting to trickle down to the other drivers. Wish I'd talked to you 30 minutes sooner because I would have brought that up on the show. I love it. Fade Ross Chastain. This guy's got 2 wins, so nobody has taken him out of the playoffs. There's no harm if they wreck him. It's the ultimate time to do it before the playoffs start. So Andy Lang said, fade Ross Chastain whenever possible in head-to-head matchups this week. It's not that he's a bad driver. It's just that someone's going to take him out WWE style. We got a 6th port in there right there. Look, we're going to talk some WNBA. Andy's going to do a lot of the follow-ups here for WNBA and UFC because he is a prop master, and he follows esports a little bit closer than I do. But let's bring on Ronald Cabang. And Ronald, before we get to women's basketball, let's talk men's basketball, and that is, well, co-ed basketball, because there'll be some ladies and some men at the three-point shoot-around. The Merrill household will be represented with both. Stay tuned for that. And I'll put it this way. I'm only the 3rd favorite in that contest among the Merrills. I figure the more Merrills I bring, the better chance I have of maybe one of us winning the contest. I also heard that Jay Money won't be there, so that gives us a better chance. But Ronald, in my virtual sports book, which presides in my head only, you are the favorite right now. And Tony Mejia apparently has been shooting around on a daily basis at the YMCA. So you two might be the 2 favorites. I need to know, though, are you going to be at the meet and greet August 19th to the 21st? I don't like that answer. No response is a bad answer, Andy. That's shuffling the odds again.
Yeah, I was gonna say live odds are really, really moving in the opposite
Andy,
direction.
can we make Mejia can't be a favorite? I cannot make Tony Mejia the favorite. You know, I keep forgetting to mention, actually, and this is rude because he's actually the guy putting it together. He's the home team, is Ski Profit. And I realize all these discussions, and that's because Ski was a little out of it in the last one in March. He was a little sleepy.
Check the tip-off time.
Didn't wake him up.
Yeah, check the tip-off time. If it's early in the morning, that eliminates a couple people from contention.
The best line ever, though, was Johnny Detroit in our private Slack chat said, you got to allow an extra 10 minutes for Jay Money to take off all of his bling. I laughed for 5 minutes, I think, on that one. But Jay, it's birthday weekend. Maybe if we get enough harassment on YouTube here, we'll get Jay out there, the defending champ. But hopefully we'll get Ronald with us. He had a little audio problem
Shout out to Jay Money.
Oh, that's a good start right there. I've always said you need more bling. You don't do enough sports, Andy, so you should add some bling to your arsenal.
My bad.
So do we have Ronald? Has Ronald decided if he's coming to the meet and greet August 19th to the 21st? And once again, that is at the Westgate. Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is a good time, Andy, to remind the viewers, though, about the meet and greet. It's August 19th to the 21st. It's at the Westgate in Las Vegas. We're teaming up with the Super Contest weekend. All joking aside, we do have a 3-hour at the Tarkanian Basketball Complex, which I've never been to. That's where we did it back in March. That's open to everybody, all friends of Wager Talk, all viewers, anybody that'd like to come do a little advanced meet and greet. And then that night with the UFC fight, we're going to do a meet and greet as well, watch the main event live. All this at the Westgate. More information on the website, wt.buzz/mg. We're going to bring on Kyle Anthony here in a minute. We're going to talk some UFC. But once again, if you want to hang out with the Wager Talk crew, wt.buzz/mg is the shortcut to get you all that info. There's also a golf outing with the Westgate for the Super Contest weekend on that Saturday. So you can do golf, you can do basketball, you can just lounge at the pool and then come that evening and watch the UFC. And I will have odds on all of that in my virtual sports book, in my virtual head. Andy, you're the prop master. I'll have to coincide with you a little bit and get those odds set. Maybe we'll post them ahead of time. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. August 19th to the 21st in Las Vegas. And there's a few, not many, $45 a night rooms available with a special promo code on that website, wt.buzz/mg. Kyle Anthony, hopefully we will see you in Vegas at the meet and greet. Love to get your UFC intake at the meet and greet that night. Will you be able to partake on Saturday, August 20th?
Oh, I'm in. I
Nice.
want to know where. Am I on that line? Am I, or am I like one of like? Am I the field? Am I in the field in the 3-point shooting?
You and I are kind of the. Well, I know what I can do. So, like, I'm a known quantity to myself. I'm not very good from three. I've told the others I'm going to have to run and gun Mejia. Ronald looks like he's in shape. You're in shape, but the Merrill clan is going to play run and gun. We got to play fast. We can't post up or hit the threes, but you look like you might be a sneaky good 3-point shooter. I need to know. You got to be honest with me. These odds have to be accurate. How's your three?
Listen, the only basketball I shoot is with my son in his room right now. That's pretty much it. And I'm dangerous there. So if we're going in there, I'm dangerous from about 5 to 6 feet out. But after that, yeah. I'm not too sure. But I'm a wild card. Yeah,
I'll tell you right now, Kyle, that little ball is going to mess you up because when I coached my 0-10 James Blair Lady Spiders middle school team this year, our ball is one size smaller, and then I pick up a full-size ball, and that was even worse than normal. So I can't imagine how much that little ball is going to throw off your game. I'll put you at 30-1.
Like
we got you listening to 30-1, but you also might be sandbagging. I don't trust you. You might be sandbagging. I pulled up the details on that. That, once again, is from 11 to 2 on Saturday, August 20th, 11 to 2. Is the Tarkanian Basketball Academy at 2730 Seth Rancho Drive. And all of that, once again, at wt.buzz/mg. All right, Kyle, I'm going to throw it over to Andy. We got some UFC here. Let's kick it off. Give us the first fight you want to look at for this Saturday. Let's talk the Ortega fight. He's about $1.80 favorite right now over Rodriguez.
So this one here, I mean, the one thing I like about this one here is that there is definitely going to be implications in this fight here. If Yair Rodriguez gets the win, there's a good chance that he's going to be facing Alexander Volkanovski. So it's definitely got some implications there, even though Ortega came off a loss. But this is your classic grappler versus striker kind of matchup here. And the one thing with Yair Rodriguez is that he has the weapons. He's got the footwork. He's got the speed advantage probably on the feet, more weapons on the feet as well, too. So a lot of that is really going to help him. And the one part about it also is that we are seeing that, Ortega's getting a little bit more comfortable striking. And that's something he really needed to do. We saw it against Korean Zombie 2 fights ago, just really, really smooth on the feet. That's going to really help him a lot there. But the one thing early in this fight definitely is going to be more towards Yair Rodriguez. He's going to have a lot of the arsenal ready. He's got a lot of the weapons ready. So that's going to be the most dangerous part for Brian Ortega. But when we talk grappling, I mean, it's not even close. It's going to be all Brian Ortega utilizing his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, his control. A lot of that is really going to come from him. But when you're looking at what Yair does, he is not very good when it comes to grappling, wrestling, defending the takedowns. So that's going to be very difficult for him. And this is really going to be who can implement their game plan. I think one of the bigger things here is going to be cardio. And one thing that we've seen throughout is that, yes, they both have had 5-round fights. Yair Rodriguez just had one with Max Holloway. And, you've seen some of the wars that Brian Ortega has been through. But the one thing about it is that we haven't really, Yair, he just can't keep that that momentum, that movement, all of that throughout 5 rounds. He just doesn't have that ability to really do that. After 2 rounds, he starts to slow down a little bit. His kicking arsenal isn't that good. The power behind it isn't that good. And, if we're talking takedowns as well, too, the one thing that he does a lot here is it's not Ortega doesn't have the greatest takedown defense. Takedown success rate. He's maybe at around 24% takedown success rate. Where the last 3 guys that Brian Ortega fought was Max Holloway, who has 84% takedown defense rate, a Korean Zombie 72, and Volkanovski 73%. So he has faced some guys that have really been able to defend those takedowns. Yair just has shown vulnerability there. I think the cardio is going to be an issue for him, defending these takedowns over a period of time. I think that Ortega can keep pushing that pace. Plus, the more that he moves forward on Yair, backpedaling drains your cardio even more, plus all of the big movements that Yair has. So I definitely do agree that Brian Ortega should go out there. He should be the favorite. He should go out there and get the victory. But minus 180, I'm not willing to go there with that. I do like Brian Ortega via submission. Plus 280, I think, is a great number. I think the vulnerability is there. I think this is a spot where he's going to be able to battle early. And then throughout this fight over 5 rounds, I think you're going to see an opportunity for that submission. 3rd, 4th, 5th round, I think that's where he's going to have some success. So plus 280 is a great number to me. And I like that here for Ortega to get that submission.
I could not agree with you more, Kyle. I'm so glad. I didn't know where you were going to go with it, so I'm glad that we're on the same page. I would also like to point Yair Rodriguez. So his last win was against Jeremy Stevens, who's not in the UFC anymore. And then his win before that was with 1 second left when he got a flash knockout when he was losing on the scorecards. If that fight goes, I
think he was losing every round too. I think it was like every round he was losing.
So in order to go back and find his last really big legit win, that's 2017. I don't know if you've noticed, a lot has happened since then. So I love your angle on the submission. I love that one, Kyle. Shout out to Casamigos, who gets Kyle through most of the UFC fights. I'm stunned you're still here. I figured you would be an executive at the
I'm trying to get a sponsorship. So I'm just dedicated day in, day out. I'm drinking it. I'm trying to. I don't know what it's going to do for. We're winning, but I don't know what else it's going to do. It runs through my blood every Saturday.
At this point, you should own a majority stock options in that company. So, Kyle, let's talk about Bill Algeo and Herbert Burns. Listen, I love fading guys who haven't fought in a while coming off of a devastating injury. So hopefully we're again on the same page. So talk to us about this next fight.
Yeah, this year, I agree also. I think that Algeo should be the favorite. It's another spot where, minus 215, 216, 220, whatever you're getting Algeo. The guy is definitely well-rounded. I like what he can do. Burns pretty much, I feel like, is more of a one-trick pony where, it's going to be the grappling. That's where he's going to be going to. But Algeo is crafty on the feet. He's very good with fakes and feints, kind of drawing out a lot of the attacks from his opponents. And the fact that he moves forward and he's durable. And I think this is kind of another spot where when you're moving forward in that manner against a grappler, and the same thing when you're against a kicker who you want them on their back foot, this is a spot here where it's hard for takedowns when you're being walked down. So again, I think that's where Algeo can kind of push the pace a little bit. And we're talking about striking or defensive striking. Burns just doesn't have it. He does not have very good striking. He really pretty much utilizes the striking to cut distance, to get inside, to get his hands on you. He's very hittable. He doesn't have very good striking defense. So there's a lot of that. But when you talk about on the grappling side of things, the only path that Burns really has is going to be these takedowns, is going to look for submission. I don't think he controls over 3 rounds. But Algeo is really good. He's also a black belt jiu-jitsu. He has those credentials. And the biggest thing that he does over his career, I feel like I've seen, is he's great at scrambling. And I think that helps lengthen this fight. I think that Burns is going to get his hands on him. I think he's going to have opportunities to find some success there. But the scrambling ability where he's able, Algeo is able to reverse, move out of position, find distance, find range. I think that lengthens this fight over them trying to get into those grappling situations. And also the fact that the movement, that Algeo has. He switches stances very smoothly. He works from the outside. So, and even competition level, the toughest fight that I would say that Burns had was his last fight against Pineda, and Pineda melted him in the second round. So, it's not that Algeo has faced these top level guys, but he has definitely faced more tougher guys over the span. So for me here, I like Algeo, but I think this is one that it lengthens, it goes the distance. I think that the fact that he's going to be very worried about those takedowns is going to be a reason why he's going to keep the distance, even in the scrambling situations. I think he's just knowledgeable enough to get out of it. So I like Bill Algeo. Plus 180 via points, I think, is a great spot for him. I think it's going to get to there. I think it's going to be pretty much him throughout the 3 rounds, but I just don't think he gets to finish. Burns may slow down later, which just keeps giving him the opportunity to lay on some more damage. So Bill Algeo via points plus 180, I think that's a good spot.
Yeah, and Burns is coming off. It hasn't fought in almost 2 years, coming off a torn ACL. And as you know, Kyle, these guys, torn ACL, it just changes things a little bit with these fighters, especially trying to go for takedowns. That's a lot of wear and tear on a leg, especially coming your first fight back. So happy to hear that you're on Algeo. And also just remind everybody, this is a very strange start time for these fights.
This is like noon, and then it's
11 a.m. Eastern.
Listen, there are times where like I like a little bit of the break at night. I mean, it's my job. I watch them all, but it's like, holy man, it's like, I'm up late. I'm not trying to do too much on a Saturday. So I may actually experience what people do on Saturday nights.
You can practice your 3-point shooting a little bit more. Let me know if you do, because I can move the odds.
I'll be in my son's room shooting.
I tell you, you got to get a bigger ball. It's going to mess you up, man. You're going to be shooting short. Kyle, what else you got going on? I mean, look, he knows his UFC. You've just seen it. You've been crushing it at WagerTalk.com. What kind of package you got planned for this weekend? And once again, early start time. Don't wait till Saturday night to go buy these plays. Get them Friday, get them Saturday morning from Kyle. What you got going at WagerTalk.com?
Yes, I got a 4% package up right now. My 4% this year are 11 and 4 in 2022. So we're doing great things. Out of the 23 UFC weekends, we've cashed in 17. We're just at the cusp of plus 100 units on the year. So a lot of good things happening. Check it out at WagerTalk.com. And then also, when I'm in Vegas, I'm going to get Andy to jump off the stratosphere with me. So I just want to put that in there too.
Yeah, I know what the odds are that I will not be doing that. Oh, man, that just went to minus money. That's something we got to get filmed. We got to get that filmed. You guys should hold a Wager Talk banner as you're going down. That'd be fantastic.
I really was hoping to try to get some people to like skydive or something, but I'm still trying to like gather. When I did, I think I tagged Kelly on something. She didn't even want to reply. She was just like, "No, thank you."
She's getting too old. She would have done it 10 years ago. Here's what we got to do, guys. Prez isn't watching today. He's off the grid. No way he's ever watching this replay. So you got to get him up there to watch. Tell him for safety reasons they got to harness him or whatever, and then you push him, and he's part of the deal here. That would be one of the best things ever, to have Prez involuntarily skydive.
We got to trick him into something.
I mean, definitely. There's lots of things we can get him into. Now, looking forward to seeing everybody. Looking forward to seeing you, Kyle. We got you in the odds. We're going to find out here right now if Ronald Cabang's on as well. But Kyle Anthony, he's cashed 17 out of 23 weeks in UFC, almost 100 units. He's going to hit 100 units hopefully this week. I always talk about diversification nation with Andy Lang. Kyle Anthony's a pretty good way to diversify as well, as he's a UFC expert at WagerTalk.com. Ronald Cabang, we're going to talk some WNBA. That's another good way to diversify. Man, All-Star breaks around the corner. Everyone thinks that's like the 3 days off from sports, but we got NASCAR, UFC, WNBA still on a weekly basis. CFL that Dave Cokin talked about, actually. I said 4 sports. We've covered 5. I forgot we mentioned CFL. Dave actually gave his play away for free, so watch that if you're joining us now at the beginning of the show. But, Ronald, before we get all that real quickly, I got to know, are you in or are you out for the 3-point contest August 20th?
Yeah, sorry about the audio issues earlier, but I was saying I'm not going to make it this time around, so you guys are going to have to shift the odds a little bit more. Pull the odds, Andy.
Pull the odds.
You guys got to shift the odds. You guys got to move quick before people get on it. So, yeah, myself and Jay, it sounds like we're not going to make it. We both made the finals last time, so
yeah. I know
we're
how that works.
2 favorites out of it. 2 favorites out of it. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe next time.
Yeah, the two guys that did the best can't make it all of a sudden. So, yeah, I know how that works. But I appreciate you opening it up for the rest of us. Tony Mejia just put on his sneakers. He's running over to the YMCA for an extra workout now because he heard he is now the betting favorite at like 10-1. I mean, they're all plus money. It's like a restrictor plate race, and you can take 3 or 4 of us and still make a profit. There's so much uncertainty. Kyle Anthony, Steve Merrill, Tony Mejia, Ski Profit. Afternoon, maybe. It starts at 11. He'll be there by noon. We'll see how this plays out. There might be a 10-year-old Merrill winning this. I'm just saying that might be where the smart money is. But once again, WT.buzz/MG, WT.buzz/MG for the details on the golf outing, the shoot around, most importantly, the meet and greet where you can hang with us all weekend long, August 19th to 21st, and $45 rooms at the Westgate. WT.buzz/MG. You just saw it on the screen. All right, Ronald, got a few minutes left here. We'll quickly look at this. I'm going to let Andy take it over. But one thing I want to point out, WNBA, you sent the 2 games over overnight, and both lines have moved 1 to 1.5 points against you. So once again, showing that Ronald Cabang is on the sharp side when it comes to WNBA. We'll start off with the earlier game at, I believe, at 10 o'clock Eastern start, right? We got the Mystics and the Mercury, the 2 late games tonight. Hey, look, Washington was, I think, -3 overnight. Now it's -4.5. Is there still value with the Mystics here at Phoenix?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, both of these teams, they seem to be going in opposite directions here. Mystics have covered 5 straight, and the Mercury have failed to cover in 4 straight. Just from a trend perspective, the Mystics are 5-2 against the spread as road favorites, including 3-1 against non-conference opponents, and as well as 3-0 against the spread as favorites following a previous matchup win. And all 3 of those games were won by double digits. Del Don is starting to put things together. They started the season off giving her some rest after a few games. She's still doing that, but I think they mentioned after the All-Star break, she's going to continue to put in more work. So less rest for her as they move into the playoffs here. She's hit double digits in 6 straight games, including back-to-back 26-point games in the last 2. On the Mercury side, they're coming off of a double OT loss to the Lynx. Interestingly enough, though, the only other time they had a game go into OT, the following game, they played the Mystics. And so that's two times they went into OT, and 2 times the next game they're going against the Mystics. First time it happened was exactly a month ago, June 14th. Mercury lost by 18 points as 8.5-point favorites on the 8.5-point dogs on the road versus the Mystics. So I'm expecting maybe not a similar outcome, not an 18-point loss, but I think that the 4.5 is still something that the Mystics should be able to cover here. Just looking at recent form, the last 5 games, Mystics with a plus 10.8 net rating versus the Mercury at a minus 0.4 in the same time frame. The biggest difference is on the defensive side of the ball, where the Mystics are second in the league in the last 5 games in the defensive rating of 92, and the Mercury at a defensive rating of 105.9. That's close to a 14-point gap on the defensive side of the ball. So give me the Mystics here against the spread full game.
Ronald, Phoenix got off to an absolutely horrible start to the year. It was a nonstop losing streak. They have won 4 out of their last 7, but not really against the best opponents, though. So does this winning 4 out of their last 7 concern you at all, or is this just a bad matchup for them?
I think this is a bad matchup. Mystics are probably one of the top teams in the East, and that you can see what happened to the Mercury the last 2 games when they faced top tier opponents, teams with a winning record. They lost by double digits both times. And again, just the spot of playing after an OT game, tired legs, and the Mercury already are they don't have the depth that most teams do that are on the top tier in the WNBA. They lost Tina Charles, and they're having locker room issues, with Taurasi and Skylar Diggins. So there's a lot of things going against the Mercury here in this game. And I think the Mystics, opening, I think, was it minus 2.5 yesterday? Or actually, I think it was even lower than that, but it moved a ton till this morning. So I agree with the line movement, and being able to get it early was a blessing. So.
Ronald actually opened pick. As Andy had opened pick was 3 overnight when he sent it now 4.5. So heavy money on Washington. And follow up with that late game tonight on Facebook, Chicago at LA.
Yeah, with this game here, the Sky, they have the best record in the league, 17-6 straight up. But, being a top tier team, sometimes that doesn't translate well into covers. They're just 11-11-1 against the spread this season. So when you try to bet these teams, these top tier teams, you really have to pick your spots. And this is a spot here to fade their opponent. The Sparks here, looking at recent form in their last 10 games, the Sparks have played 7 games at home, and their net rating in those games minus 11.6, second only to the Indiana Fever, who literally are the worst team in the league. On the other side, the Sky have played 5 road games in their last 10 games, and their net rating is plus 8.7. Huge gap there between the net rating. Another thing to mention is a league-wide trend that I've been kind of monitoring here, both between the WNBA and the NBA. I use this during the regular season in the NBA as well. I like to look at scheduling spots where one team has more rest than their opponent prior to the next game. So in the WNBA, this is hitting at a 40% clip. So you're pretty much fading this trend. 32, 48, and 2 against the spread league-wide when the team has more rest than their opponent prior to their next game. So basically, they're kind of looking ahead to like a little mini vacation. So, and if you add to the fact that the team is going to rest for an extended period of time, 3 games or 3 days or more, they're in even bigger fade at nearly 30%. So 16, 36, and 2 against the spread. So fading that trend is hitting at nearly 70% this season, and it calls for a play on the Sky here. Another thing to mention, the Sky are completely healthy while the Sparks are missing Kennedy Carter off the bench, and Neko Ogumike, she'll be coming off of missing a game from an illness. And just like the NBA as well, like one thing that comes up a lot is teams struggling or failing to cover when a key player comes off of missing a game. Ogumike can have that type of effect here in the WNBA for the Sparks here. So I'll be taking the Sky as favorites here on the road.
The great Ronald Cabang giving us some incredible information on WNBA. Ronald, thank you so much. And Steve, I think one of the things and themes that we've seen from the show is it's summer and there's no NBA, there's no NHL, there's no NFL. There are plenty of ways to diversify your portfolio and add profits to the bankroll. So shout out to Ronald for showing us how you can do it in WNBA. Absolutely incredible information on a sport that I don't follow, but I know I will be betting on tonight, Steve.
Yeah, he's up 5-1 the last 7 days in WNBA, so he knows his stuff there, and there's money to be made. And keep in mind, he's at sportsmemo.com, the sister site, and he's UCapper. You know, a lot of times you might look for him, you don't see Ronald Cabang. UCapper is his handle on both Twitter and at sportsmemo.com. So go to sportsmemo.com. UCapper is Ronald Cabang, WNBA expert. He does other sports as well, so check him out. 5-1 run over the past week. Speaking of diversifying, Andy Lang, WagerTalk.com. Prop master. Andy, you're going to be on the prop shop, I believe, coming up right after this show, so stay tuned for that. Andy does a lot of prop shows throughout the week. Don't forget Life in the Fast Lane, Andy, your weekly NASCAR Formula One video. I highly recommend checking that out here on the TV channel as well. I'm going to try to put together a weekend baseball, kind of a mid-season recap here, so check that out. It's a great reason to hit subscribe, hit the bell for instant alerts. When the prop shows are on, when the baseball weekend videos, hit the bell, you get an instant alert. Subscribe. Let's hit 100,000. Thumbs up, like, comment below, and Andy, I'll let us take us home. Check us out on WagerTalk.com. It was great working with you, Andy. Take us home. Great show today.
Yeah, MLB Best Bet is up. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Steve, it was a pleasure as always. Good luck, everyone. Let's have a profitable rest of the week and weekend. And we will see everybody next time on Wager Talk Today.
With football around the corner, time to start building up that bankroll. And we want to help by slashing the cost of all daily picks packages priced at $25 or more, including 5% best bets through the end of July. This amazing promotion runs from Tuesday, July 12th to midnight on Sunday, July 31st, and drops the pricing down to $25 daily packages for $12.50, $29 daily combo packages for $14.50, and $35 5% best bets for $17.50. But even better, this is the perfect time to take advantage of our one-day all-access pass. This package locks in the handicapper of your choice for one whole day for only $39, including when they have a 5% top play that usually sells for $35. But during our 50% slash promotion, you get a one-day all-access for only $19.50. We know this business is loaded with competitors and copycats, and we are very proud and extremely excited to be one of, if not, the premier sports betting information provider in North America. Our special discount pricing goes live on Tuesday, runs through the end of the month, does not require a coupon, and is available just by going to your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo Handicappers homepage right now.